You know, everything we do online creates a digital footprint. It's kind of like an open book of our lives. But who's reading it? And are they even playing by the rules? Today, we're going to dive into what it means to collect data ethically.
Just think about that for a second. It's a perfect way to put it, right? We're not just talking about data points, about ones and zeros. We're talking about our personal stories, our private thoughts. So treating data like a diary, that's not just a cute metaphor. It's about a fundamental sense of trust. And you're about to see that trust is everything.
So let's stick with that diary idea as we explore why this is so important, especially now when we're connected all the time.
Okay, so why should you care? Well, for one, this isn't just some big corporate issue. It's about our safety. When companies handle data ethically, we can actually trust the digital tools we use every day. It also means they're not breaking the law with our information. And most importantly, it stops that info from being used to harm us.
So, how does this actually work in the real world? Well, it all really boils down to 4 core principles. Think of them as the golden rules for handling data. Let's break them down one by one.
First up, and you could argue it's the most important, is privacy. It's super simple. This is your right to control your own information. Think about all those apps on your phone. Does that game really need access to all your contacts? Should that photo editor know your location 24/7? You should be the one making that call. That's the bedrock of data ethics. Next, we've got transparency. And oh man, this is a big one. We've all been there, right? You're faced with a wall of text, that super long, confusing privacy policy, and you just scroll down and click accept. Well, transparency is the cure for that. It means companies have to be totally upfront and clear about what data they're collecting and exactly what they're doing with it. No legal jargon, no hiding things in the fine print, because you can't really trust something you don't understand.
Third on our list is security. Look, it's great if a company collects your data respectfully, but they also have a huge responsibility to protect it. This means using stuff like encryption, which basically scrambles your data so only the right people can read it, to keep it safe from hackers and leaks. It's the digital version of putting a really strong lock on that diary we talked about.
And finally, number 4, fairness. This one is all about making sure that data isn't used to create or reinforce discrimination. For example, imagine a company uses an AI to screen job applications. If that AI was trained on biased data from the past, it might unfairly filter out amazing candidates just because of their background. Fairness means building systems that treat every single person equitably. All right, so here they are, all 4 principles side by side. You've got privacy, which is all about getting your permission, transparency, which is about being clear and honest, security, which is about protecting your data, and fairness, which is about avoiding any kind of bias. Put them all together and you've got a solid framework for doing things the right way.
Now you might be thinking, this all sounds nice, but are companies actually doing this? Well, the thing is, these aren't just suggestions anymore. All over the world, these principles are being written into actual law.
Whether you're looking at Europe's GDPR, California's CCPA, or Pakistan's PICA, the message from governments is becoming crystal clear. Your data belongs to you. These laws are finally giving us, the individuals, real power and control over our personal info. And they're making it plain to companies that protecting our data is absolutely non-negotiable.
So what happens when these principles get ignored, when companies don't play by the rules? Let's take a look at a real-world example that I'm pretty sure you'll recognize, the world of social media.
So picture this. Every time we scroll, every time we like a post, every time we share something, we're constantly feeding these platforms tons of data. What we like, what we don't, where we go, it's all being collected. But what happens to it all?
And that is the billion-dollar question. For years and years, the answer was a huge, resounding no. Most of us had absolutely no idea how our data was being packaged and sold to target us with ads, or even in some cases to influence our opinions. It was a massive failure of transparency.
And the fallout? It was enormous. We saw huge public backlash. Remember the whole hashtag delete Facebook movement? Companies were hit with gigantic fines. And maybe worst of all, there was this deep, lasting loss of user trust. It's a really powerful lesson that once you break that trust, it is incredibly hard to earn it back.
So, the big takeaway from all this is pretty clear. Transparency and ethics, they're not just nice to have buzzwords. In our digital world, they are absolutely essential for survival. It's how companies build trust that actually lasts and, how they manage to stay on the right side of the law.
Whew! Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. So before we wrap up, let's put together a quick and easy ethical data toolkit to help you remember all the key points.
So if you remember anything, remember this. Ethical data collection really just boils down to respect, clarity, protection, and fairness. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're backed by laws around the world. And as we saw, ignoring them can have some seriously disastrous consequences.
And here's a super simple way to lock these 4 ideas in your brain. Just think, privacy is respect, transparency is clarity, security is protection, and fairness is equality. Easy, right? But incredibly powerful.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you know the rules of the road, what's the first step you're going to take to protect your own digital diary?